Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I am Marc Givler. Got Kevin Noon here. The signing day recruiting capsules continue. National Signing Day 2020. It's in 2022. It's class of 2023 is here. We are rolling along here talking about offensive linemen. We got Joshua Padilla up now. Four-star Huber Heights Wayne, in-state kid, lifelong Buckeye fan. Very, to me, interesting commit here. He was one of the first guys he was a very early commit, committed to Greg Stajwara, never wavered when Justin Fry came in. Has not a big talker, not a big rah-rah guy, but just, kind of quietly, did his thing here. Was in on campus a lot, hanging around the guys, but again, not a guy who got a lot of fanfare, but four-star prospect. Kevin, what do you see in Josh? We've seen him, oh gosh, 2 or 3, I think, Ohio State camps over the years. Obviously, I've been out to games. I've seen him a few times playing at Wayne, so pretty comfortable, I think, on my end with the evaluation. But just kind of your thoughts on Padilla.
Yeah, listed 6'4", 280. I mean, he's certainly. We talk at length on a lot of things about tackle, not a tackle. We know that there when it comes to Josh Padilla. He's somebody that has kind of grown on me, and it's not a case of that I wasn't like hugely into his game at first, but I mean, he's just a plugger. He's somebody who just gets out there, very, very businesslike, just approaches everything the right way. Let me throw some of his tape on here. Comes from a solid program in Wayne. I think he's going to be somebody that fans are going to like as much as as much as you can when it comes to an offensive lineman. I mean, we only talk about them when generally when they've had a false start or gave up a sack or something else. But I think that Padilla has a lot of strong fundamentals to build on. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to walk in and suddenly be given the keys to the Ferrari. I mean, he's a young guy, and there are not a lot of Michael Jordans out there that come in year one and are thrust into the starting spotlight. But I think Padilla has a lot of tools in his toolbox. And as excited as you can get about a guard, I guess maybe you should say that here. I'll wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, and we got his tape up. The thing, he's a finisher. He finishes blocks. He's a guy who, again, playing right tackle at Wayne, that's not going to happen at Ohio State. He's going to kick inside. He's going to be a center guard prospect for Ohio State. But does have that bit of experience kind of playing on the edge, which always helps a little bit. It's not too uncommon to see this in high school. Typically these teams put their best lineman at left or right tackle. But if you're watching the video, if you're with us on YouTube, finishes his blocks, echo of the whistle. He's definitely a fiery. He's not a big personality off the field, but he's a fiery guy on the field. He's got a lot of he's like a Pat Elflein, Jacoby Boren to him, where he's not going to just overwhelm his opponents with just, he's not like 6'6" with this airline type of wingspan, but he's going to beat you with toughness. He's going to beat you with smartness. He's going to beat you with technique, hand placement, leverage. He's just one of those guys. That's how he wins his battles, and that's how he's going to have to survive and thrive at Ohio State. So, they've had success with a lot of these types of guys over the years. So you definitely have to respect that. And you look at him and, yeah, you can see that's kind of how Pat Elflein or Jacoby Boren looked in high school. And so that's kind of where I have him as a guy who, again, is not going to like Miles Walker and Luke Montgomery are going to be the guys you look at and like, oh, those guys, that's what those tackles are supposed to look like. And Josh is, again, he's more of a leverage technique guy. Great wrestler, great high school wrestler. So he's got that in common with some of the other guys they've had here in the past. And so, how quickly can he pick things up? Luke Whippler is not going to be in Columbus forever. So I think probably center would be an interesting spot for him, but I'm sure they'll work him at guard as well. maybe be like a Matt Jones type of guy who can kind of play either one in a pinch. That's probably another decent projection actually too. He's very similar body type to Matt Jones. So there's another guy if you're looking for a player comp that would fit as well. Not much drama there. They offered him early. Notre Dame was kind of in it to an extent, but this was always a guy that we felt would be in the class, and he got in there early. And then never wavered when Justin Fry took over. We talk about path to the playing field, and it's never easy for offensive linemen, but Kevin, what is your kind of take right now on the interior of the Ohio State offensive line? Because that's ultimately where Josh is going to, plug in somewhere. Is this a crowded situation for him? Is there maybe some opportunity, maybe not so much year one, but year two? Kind of how are you looking at that interior right now?
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be some opportunity. I mean, I think that it's funny because every year it's like, oh, this guy's going to be the center of the future. This guy's going to be the center of the future. Well, now Josh Padilla, he's going to be the center of the future. There's going to have to be, whether or not it's through eligibility, running out for some guys, or portaling. There's going to be some clearing out in the offensive line room. There just is. I mean, Ohio State has to, I think, juggle the balance of interior guys to tackles. There are just going to be some guys that are going to get through their third year that are going to still have a couple years of eligibility left that are probably going to be like, I'm just not going to get on the field, and are going to have to go elsewhere. So, I think it bodes well for somebody like Padilla here in a couple years, as as guys like, you talk about like in terms of like Matt Jones as being kind of the hybrid guard center, as a Donovan Jackson moves on, as some of these other guys move on. What's the new position of where is Josh Fryer going to fit into all of this? But I think Padilla is somebody, he's less of a, I hate using the word project because project has such a negative connotation to it, but I think he's a lot safer than maybe some of these other linemen that we've seen taken in some of these last few classes. And that's, I'm not going to slap a lot of names on there because again, it's like, oh, well, Noon's just bagging on this guy. No, it's just some guys just haven't played a lot of football or played in a really tiny division and just have not been, as we've said in previous shows and through the past, been hit in the mouth. You don't know how they're going to respond when they're playing against somebody who's their size or bigger. So I think it all bodes well for Padilla, and I think that he's somebody, if he takes care of his business, that opportunity is going to be there. It's just, will he be ready when that door is open for him?
Yeah, comes from a great high school program, plays great competition pretty much week in, week out. They travel, they play in a great league, but they'll go out of league. They'll play, top schools from Cincinnati, top schools from Columbus. So I think he's battle tested for sure. And he was 1/3 of this Ohio trio that they're signing here. And it should be maybe easier than it's looked the last few years. They haven't always been able, I think people maybe not, just caution people not to maybe take this group for granted. I know it's not maybe they're not all the biggest guys. They're not all the most hyped linemen Ohio State's ever recruited or anything like that. But these are 3 early, targets for Ohio State. They offered all these guys early. Were able to land them, and that's something they've not really consistently been able to do over the years, just recent history. So I think people need to maybe appreciate, keeping these Ohio guys home, and these will be guys that I think will be a little more patient in their development. We're in the era of the transfer portal. I think again, maybe a little more patient in taking the 2 to 3 years it really takes to develop to be a high level offensive lineman in the Big Ten. But that'll do it for this one. Again, BuckeyeHuddle.com will have all of these with some written stuff around it. We'll post all these to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you can also download these in audio form on all your podcast platforms that you use. So we'll be doing these all day throughout National Signing Day here. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you on the next one.